Now that we've seen the challenges that Spinoza feels the Enlightenment presents, we should reflect finally on the differences between the modern and medieval philosophical challenges. Now, in a way, Spinoza is actually a transitional figure. He's still interested in metaphysical questions concerning the nature of God and immortality, as were the medievals. You'll notice as we move from this early modern period through to more contemporary figures, that the concern with these metaphysical issues begins to die away. Come the 20th century, Jewish philosophers are far less concerned with questions regarding creation, prophecy, the nature of God even. And that'll be the first difference that you notice between the two periods. And the fact is that even with Spinoza sharing those concerns, you'll have noticed a marked shift of emphasis. For now, as a result of the Enlightenment, reason is king. And if reason contradicts religion, then it's religion that must fall by the wayside. For the medievals, on the other hand, religion never falls away. Even if reason does contradict the external sense of the Torah, the medievals would be sure to argue that the Torah must have really meant, deep down, what the philosophers said. The Torah has to be true since it's the word of God, and any philosophical conclusions will have been incorporated into the Torah. For Spinoza, though, since he questions the very divinity of the Torah, if philosophy shows the Torah is wrong, then the Torah is simply wrong, and one doesn't have to believe in it any longer on such matters. So a second important difference is that while the medievals lived in a world where the vast majority of people were religious, and the philosophical task was to reconcile religion and philosophy, in an increasingly secular world, the option of rejecting religion or various parts of it as a result of philosophical questioning becomes far more prevalent. With respect to the law, the mitzvot, the same holds true. If the rationality of the laws is not universal, then the laws simply can't be upheld as rational. Religious individuals can by all means continue to adhere to these mitzvot, but they can't claim, as did the medieval rationalist, that this behavior is philosophically justifiable. And in a sense, it's this practical issue that becomes more and more important as the modern period develops. You see, medieval Jewish philosophy is very much about how to reconcile two different systems of truth, two different theoretical systems, such as Aristotle believing in eternity and the Torah believing in creation, and asking, well, who's right? As our increasingly philosophical and scientific culture puts mounting pressure on religion, questions become less theoretical and begin to focus more on the practical issue of whether or not an apparently irrational faith has a place in the modern world that can be philosophically justified. And it's this, rather than abstract truths about God, that begins to take up more and more space for our modern Jewish philosophers. We move gradually from a theoretical to a more practical focus. In Spinoza, we begin to see that shift, though, as I say, he still is concerned with some of those theoretical issues that begin to fall away. Now, when you combine this practical focus with the new political reality of a world in which Jews can play a full part, the difficulties of maintaining different religious practices that may separate you from the world that you've been trying to break into for centuries make some sort of philosophical justification for that separation, for Judaism, all the more important.